It sounds like you're saying, trust us. And are you worried that at some point Americans are going to feel like there's a bunch of billionaires in Washington who are playing Russian roulette with our retirement?
$2 trillion deficits.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel.
City boy! City boy!
All right, man. I've been covering a bunch of stuff this week, and it's Friday now that I'm doing this reaction. I can't lie. I'm burnt out on politics, the back and forth, and it also reminds me, like, how much of this conversation do I want to have? Some days I'm up for it. Today I'm just like, meh. But the reason I'm doing this one is because there's a lot going on, right? You know, typically I always try to call a spade a spade. This bloated spending bill the Republicans are trying to run through, it's kind of wild when you get to the meat and potatoes of it. People are going to argue on the right that, no, it's this, just give them time, do this, that, and the other. And I would agree with that. I'd agree, like, we're 2 months into this presidency. Let's see what the F happens. I don't really expect any real change until, a year in, 2 years in, and hopefully we're popping, But if we're just keeping it real, like, there's just a lot of stuff going on. We'll get into that. But I wanted to see this because this is trending, and I keep seeing this. And I personally, off looking at it, no taxes if you make less than $150,000. It's like, they're trying to cater to, I wouldn't even say middle class, because middle class is really like 150 and up, because in that middle class areas where all the businesses, that's what needs the most help. Then it goes down under. We know the billionaire and millionaire class doesn't need as much as a push or help, because like the millionaires and billionaires be getting bailed out. Like, it's just crazy. But it's just interesting because I'm moving into the middle class, like, as we speak. And I'm like, this is like, I don't think people should be paying the taxes they're paying, period. But it just seems like I don't understand this divisive way of doing it. Like, if you make 150, so what happens? I don't know what happens to the people who make more than 150, right? My goal is to get over that, 150, get to the 180s, get to the 200s. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We're going to find out. This is on Anton Daniels' channel. He's super dope. I rock with him. Majority of the takes he has are really good, but I don't agree with all of his takes. We'll see what he says here. I don't know how this is going to play out. There's a lot going on right now, but I just wanted to hear it. And I figured if I'm going to watch this, I might as well watch it with y'all, have the convo with y'all in the comments, and see what's cracking.
But it sounds like you're saying, trust us. And are you worried that at some point Americans are going to feel like there's a bunch of billionaires in Washington who are playing Russian roulette with our retirement?
$2 trillion deficits don't bother you at all. How could you ask me, while we're running a $2 trillion deficit, and not care? You're destroying the people who have run this country before, are destroying the future for my children and my children's children. I can't have a 50, 75. We have a $36 trillion deficit.
Bro, the interest we pay on that deficit is insane. It's insane. And when you think about how it affects the coming future, our kids, our grandkids, like, what he's saying is real. What he's saying is real. And I don't know, man, like, I've been kind of diving into the numbers, and it was just crazy. Like, how they're making this big stink over USAID or whatever, like the Doge thing. I'm like, these are like ripples in the bucket. Like, it doesn't even, like, some of this shit don't even matter. I get it, but I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like these cuts that Elon is making are as efficient or as effective as, again, it's just starting, so we gonna see. But it's like, it's fun. Like, when you look at politics, let's just keep it real for a second, especially my right-wingers on this one, because I know y'all advocate Trump, and I like some of the stuff he has done so far, but there's stuff where it's just like, bro, like, they don't touch like, they're not touching the defense funding, right? I don't really know what's going on with what they decided with the Ukraine stuff right now, but like, they have not cut the defense funding. They're not cutting anything in the Pentagon. They don't really dive into where, like, the deep state hides out, right? They give us these causes that make us feel like, yeah, man, they're cutting this nonsense. No more, blah, blah in Cambodia. And you're like, cool. Like, if we're wasting money, cut it. But there's money being wasted everywhere. And it's just funny how the deep state kind of just chills and dodges all the cuts, no matter what. No matter what. That's just what it is. The other anyways, I'm about to get off the point because we're in the economic sector right now, because I was going to get into this, some of the speech laws that are creeping up. Some of the speech laws that are creeping up from the right. The camp of no censorship has speech laws in the loom. If you speak out against certain countries that are our allies, right? We can criticize our own country, our own government, but we can't criticize other governments or other allies. I think that's slippery slope. I don't care how y'all want to take that. Y'all take it how you want. That is not cool. That's on some Patriot Act BS. It is what it is. Let's see what's popping here, though.
50, 75. We have a $36 trillion deficit. And we used to run deficits of $400 billion. Now $2 trillion, everybody's like, who cares? I tell you what, who cares? Donald Trump cares. And when we balance the budget, you know what that means? That means our deficits stop. Interest rates come smashing down. His goal is to have external revenue. The way I think about it, we all are so used to paying taxes. We're so used to it. We have like Stockholm syndrome. Don't stop the Internal Revenue Service, God forbid.
I don't.
How about this?
Yeah.
The rest of the world leans on our economy, breathes off our economy. Not only is our economy $29 trillion GDP, but we consume $20 trillion a year. We are the buyer of everybody's stuff.
That's true.
We buy everybody's stuff. So who's more important, the people who sell stuff or the people who buy stuff? So we are the buyer of everybody's commodities, products, goods and services. Everything comes from us, right? Let them pay a membership fee. We all understand that model. Let them pay.
I ain't gonna lie, whatever the hell he's selling it to me. He's like, let me sell you this pen. Hey, this sounds good on paper.
How about we, you and I, and every single person we know pay less? How about no tax on tips? How about no tax on overtime? How about no Social Security? How about all those things?
Hold on, you said no Social Security? I thought they were trying to save Social Security. That's one of the things that should not be cut, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. But I heard the Republicans be like, we're not touching that. That's, but the Democrats are saying they are going to touch it. But when you get into the meat and potatoes of it, they're not really going to touch it. But that's not my qualm. My qualm is the charade, the smoke and mirrors that we're really doing something with Doge. And the more I dive into it, it ain't, we going to see, man. You got to give people time. Like, I will give people grace and time. I'm patient. Let's see what's popping. But some of the things I've seen, I'm like, yo, the defense budget is crazy. But then again, that's what gives America its value. So I could be tripping there. There might be something I'm missing there. But the people don't want to be in these forever wars no more. The people do not, we want a dope military, but we don't want to be in wars. We kind of know how military's funded. So I don't know. I don't have all the answers, Sway, but let's listen.
These are the kind of thoughts that will change America. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal.
That's a phenomenal goal. And I'm not even sure if we get there based off of the sentiment and the rejection of what we go on. I know that Chuck Schumer is actually voting to pass through the budget to make sure that we don't have a government shutdown. But people truly don't understand that you have to have multiple different things working at the same time. And what that means is, let's just say hypothetically that we are putting tariffs in place, which we are. And Trump already said that he was going to do it, so this shouldn't even be a surprise to people. But let's just say, for example, we putting tariffs in place. Cool. Well, some short-sighted people that we shouldn't be paying attention to in the first place because they're already in shambles and they can't make a good decision to save their lives will say, well, this is going to cost us more American goods. Interestingly enough, it's already costing you more, and it's the reason why we have such high inflation from the Biden administration over the last 4 years, because we've outsourced and sold off everything inside of the United States of America, and we don't even have any industries to depend upon. outside of financing, which is one of the reasons why they say the banks are too big to fail. Because during the Bush and the Clinton administrations, we basically sold off America. We allowed for all of our companies to go and build products in other countries. They then did it for a cheaper price and paid enormous taxes, and they had to subsidize other governments and even be able to do business over in these countries. These countries then stole our technology, and over in China specifically, up until recently, you couldn't even, as an American company, go over there and do business or build cars or anything or sell to their people unless you partner 50% with whatever, whoever it was, whatever Chinese company that they chose for you to be with. And then that company then took our technology. Now we having conversations about how great Chinese cars are, and y'all want them to come over here in the United States of America. Nonsense. But my point is that we sold off America, which the savings didn't get passed on to the consumer. People got rich short term, and then they killed your future, and now you asking where are all of the American jobs. We depend on subsidizing a federal tax worker or the federal worker with our taxes to make sure that people have jobs, which is basically just driving us deeper into inflation. It's driving this economy harder, faster towards a crash, and that's why we have so much debt, and we run in $1 and $2 trillion deficits. The reality is that we need to incentivize other companies to come and build inside the United States of America, which we are doing. And then what that does.
I don't disagree with this. I just don't know if it's going to play out like that. There's a lot of different pushbacks. And also, this is like the long play, like, building factories and over. That ain't going to happen overnight, and I just wonder if there's a potential for this building process to start. But because if you don't see a certain result by a certain time, people's vote will shift. If the other side gets back in, then it deads all the things building and we go right back to whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's like a game of chess, but what he's saying makes sense on paper. Like, I ain't even fronting on that.
It builds jobs for the American worker. It forces them to have the American dollar and the money that they make circulate in our economy. And it bolsters it because we don't have to depend on the federal government to employ a bunch of people just to act like we got a bunch of jobs. And the fact that they are even pushing and considering no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. And
he meant no tax on Social Security, not taking it. That makes sense. Okay, got you.
Anybody that makes under $150,000 a year wouldn't have to pay taxes at all. Man, if that's not transformational thinking, when you think about it, right? In order to drive a organization, to drive a company, to drive your own personal selves beyond where you are, you have to do something that you've never done before. We need to get back to the old ways of thinking while at the same time adopting the new technologies. And this is what this administration is doing. This administration is so transformational in their thinking that it makes people uncomfortable because they don't want to change from their cultural norms. They think it's okay for us to pay these crazy taxes. They think it's okay for us to just spend a whole bunch of money subsidizing everybody's lifestyle outside of the United States of America when we the ones that's the biggest buyers. They think that we need everybody else. Everything that you need is within your own community. It's within the United States of America. But they're so anti-Trump and anti-America that they can't even see that he's doing the thing that's best for everybody instead of just doing the things that's best for themselves. But
I think what he's saying, there's some value there and some truth. This is my question, right? Because all the homies from the left that be in here, they're like, yo, he's giving tax cuts for his billionaire friends. He's making this billionaire. They're always focused on what's going on with the billionaires. Well, now we're talking about everyone under that. $150,000, anyone who makes less than that, don't pay taxes is crazy. Y'all complaining about, but what's wild to me is like the majority of the taxes get paid by this middle sector from what I've seen. These people in that 200, maybe even 250 range to that milli range, which is typically small business owners. Yeah, there's some tech bros, some crypto bros in there, but small business operate within these numbers and they don't take all that home. And so I just want to, my main thing is like, yo, how to, I guess I'd have to see the whole thing. I'm kind of talking out my ass, so I'm going to just shut up. I don't, there's no reason to be dumb on here, but we'll see this whole, because we have all these different conversations, and this is the trending combo, because I've seen this title, 150K, you know what I mean? No taxes, and I'm like, that's wild. That's wild. But where is this? Like, so cool, got it. 150K and under. Where's the 150 to, whatever, 5 million? What does that look like tax wise? And then 5 million and up, what does that look like? Or if it's 10 million up, like, what does it all look like on paper, and is it balanced for everyone? I don't know. It's interesting, but we'll see how this goes. Because the one thing I did look up statistically is that I think it's the 1% and the 10%, or maybe it's the 10%, pay the majority of taxes, period, in America. So all these people are complaining on the lower end. They're still not paying the same type of taxes that the higher end people are paying. So it is just an interesting question, or not question, but conversation piece.
Let's see if Chuck Schumer has anything. I'm sorry, not Chuck Schumer. Howard Lutnick has anything else, thinking about Chuck Schumer because Chuck Schumer actually passed the budget, has anything else to do.
And that's what I'm working for.
So you're saying when it looks chaotic and unpredictable from the outside, that there actually is a master plan when it comes to these tariffs?
It is not chaotic. And the only one who thinks it's chaotic is someone who's being silly. He said reciprocal tariffs.
Nobody expected him to announce 50% tariffs this morning.
He needed to break some guy in Ontario who said he was going to tax American energy 25%.
Doug Ford.
The President of the United States in the White House says, "Oh, no, you won't," and breaks him. Breaks him. In what? By a tweet and a truth. And you think that's chaotic? You know what I think that is? I think that is the thank God we have a president who's taking care of us. Because if you were in one of those states and you thought your energy prices were going to go up 25%, and you said, "Where's the president?" And all of a sudden he came down like thunder to make that end.
We need a body.
Say, cool. I'm glad that's.
You need somebody like Howard Lutnick on your team to hold you down, because Trump has definitely got people that's loyal in his administration. He didn't make the same mistakes that he made in his first term.
Kind of White House, and that's what we've got.
The president does seem like he's preparing the nation for some short-term pain. He calls it a disturbance. How much pain should Americans brace for? How much will inflation go up, and for how long?
Okay, if you balance the budget, it's not inflation. Tariffs do not create inflation. Printing extra money creates inflation.
Correct.
Like I try to describe it, if we all had $1 trillion, and that's all the money that was there, okay, and your shoes had a tariff and my shoes didn't, then my shoes would just be cheaper than yours. But that's not inflation. Whereas if I give everybody $2 trillion, both our shoes are more expensive right now.
Because the value of your money is less, which means that the cost goes up. And then you throw on top of that the fact that most people do not have wage increases, and so your affordability goes down, while at the same time everybody else gets rich. It's just it's basic math, and it's basic understanding of how things work in Civics 101, and you combine it all together, and it translates into us being more successful. Not even us, forget us. Our children and our children's children will be thanking us for making the decisions that we made today. But let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure.
All right, there you have it. It's interesting because a lot of this inflation came, there was a lot of people who tried to push back against the printing of money and the way we decided to maneuver around the pandemic in 2020. And that was a big issue. What I think Trump signed the CARES Act. That was a bloated bill. Then Biden kept on with this nonsense. And right now, the bill they're about to pass is bloated. Like, if y'all say it ain't, y'all are just have the blinders on. There's a lot of stuff in there that's like carrying on from the Biden admin. So I don't know. I started seeing that the other day, and I wanted to get on here because I almost wanted to be like, I don't know. I need to see where things go, because there's just a lot of new developments every single day. Also, I want to give people a chance to, make good on their word, let's say. So every now and then I'm going to tap in with stuff like this. Y'all let me know in the comments. I ain't going to go too hard left or right on on any of this. I'm going to really evaluate and see what happens, because there's definitely some things that I've been criticizing, and there's some things that I like about this admin, and that's just the way it is. But I also see some smoke and mirrors stuff that I'm like, it just makes me, I don't know, it just makes me feel kind of weird about just even taking a side, because I'm starting to see politics again, like, oh, this is that fake This is that fake bullshit, man. So just focus on getting the bread, being successful, abundance mindset, get it popping, get your bag and keep it moving. Like, do I need to obsess over politics? Absolutely not. Do I need to pay attention to the markets and see where things are going? Yes, especially when you're making investments and paying a higher taxes. Absolutely, I do. But I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts. They'll come out. Today is Friday. I'm freaking chilling. F what they talking about. Shout out to Anton Daniels. I really like his channel. I really like his work. He gives me a different angle to see things when I'm steering a certain way. So that's dope. And I try to make logical and common sense decisions in my life. So I try to see things for what they are. Anyways, y'all let me know in the comments what's popping. I'll holler.
City boy, city boy.